welcome back. Today I've decided to do a Q&A for you guys since you guys sent in some questions on Instagram and I thought what better time to answer them so you guys can get to know me better. But first, if you're new here, my name is Isha Bunsel. I'm a freshman majoring in computer science and I'm currently living on campus at UTD. Now on to our first question. Elizabeth asks, what is one thing you had to bring with you to college and why? Okay, now this is an interesting question because there are a lot of nitpick items that I brought with me to campus, but if I were to answer just one thing, it would be my favorite book. I was the kid who, the day after I read my first sentence, I checked out a book from the library. And ever since then, reading has always been a space of comfort for me, and going into a new environment, living in a new space, is quite the opposite. So knowing that no matter what happens at college or what happens during the day, I will have a book waiting for me on the windowsill when I get back to my dorm just gives me a sense of relief and allows me to explore the bounds of my creativity and my social networking. Moving on to our second question. Jeffrey asks, describe a time where an act of service you committed or witnessed left a lasting impression on you or another person. I really like this question because there are many ways to answer it. I, for one, believe that even the smallest things are equivalent to an act of service if at least one person is pleased. So I would answer it by remembering the time when I was working at a nursing home in high school. Every weekend I would go scoop ice cream and decorate the building for monthly holidays like Christmas, Hanukkah, Halloween. And there was always one senior citizen named Anna who would come in on the Saturdays that I would be there, order her usual vanilla in a cone, sit there, eat it super fast, not talk to any of the other senior citizens who were at the other tables talking and laughing. She would just eat it really quickly and just get up and leave. After a few months, I realized the pattern that was going on and decided to just start making conversation with her to give her a reason to stay. So the next time she came in and ordered her vanilla, I walked with her to her table and then asked her about her shirt. She was wearing this blue and white striped shirt that had 3 birds flying across it. And I asked her, hey, I really like your shirt. Is it blue your favorite color? She looked up at me and she smiled so wide and just launched into the story about how her mother used to be a studier of birds and they would always go out in the park and look at the different birds in the sky. And she said that her daughter bought this shirt for her because it reminded her of her mother who had passed away recently. And I could tell that me just asking her this simple question brought out so many good memories for her. So ever since then, whenever she came in, I would make conversation with her about her hair, her shoes, some small minor thing, and that would lead to her telling me another story after story after story, until the point where one time her nurse came in with her and told me that she had begun opening up to other patients, asking them the same questions I had asked her at once. She started having friends at the nursing home. She didn't feel so alone anymore. And now whenever she came in for ice cream, she always stayed for the entire hour. So I believe that even though all I did was just listen to her or ask her a simple question, that was still an act of service enough that let her see things in a different perspective. So that would be the act of service that I committed that I believe truly helped her. Okay guys, last question, otherwise this video might be too long. So Sophia says, describe a time where you had to persuade someone to do the right thing or choose a better option. How did you make your case and what was the outcome of your input? This question stumped me for a bit because as an older sister, I feel like I always have to persuade my younger sister not to do something. But if I were to pinpoint a time when I felt like I had the most sway over her, it would be last fall. So in August, we got 2 birds added to our family, 2 beautiful parakeets, and it took months of convincing for our parents to finally agree and say yes. They were a little on the fence about the idea because my sister had a long history of asthma and allergies and they didn't want the birds to trigger anything or start a domino effect that could lead to something worse. But my sister convinced them that she was better, her health was top-notch, so we eventually got these birds. Sadly, after 2 months, my sister's allergy started up again, just like my parents predicted, and they were pleading her to give them up or give them away to somebody who could take better care of them so she could focus on herself. She would not budge on the topic though, and so they finally turned to me and asked me if I could say something to her or try and persuade her to see the long-term effects. I knew that the best way to get my sister's attention or to talk to her about something serious was to always start off with a joke. So I walked up to her room and I started joking about how when we were younger and we were at the zoo, she would always run away from the big birds like the big turkeys and vultures because she thought they were gonna eat her. And she started to lighten up on the conversation until I finally got to the point where I just asked her, why are you so afraid to let go of these birds? And she says, I'm afraid that if we give these birds away, we can never have pets again, and mom and dad will always think that my health is more important. And so I understood where she was coming from, but I knew that she wasn't looking at the long-term effects of what having these birds could do. So I said, as long as you know that you're going to start taking care of yourself and you can improve your health, then getting more pets or getting new pets will not be an issue. Just know that you have to focus on yourself first and take care of yourself first before you can start taking care of someone or something else. And that started to shift the idea in her mind that she won't be able to have pets ever again. She started to become more open on the topic and started to understand where my parents were coming from, where I was coming from, and finally agreed to let the birds go. So after a few months, we gave these birds away to one of our family friends who has a bunch of birds and could take care of them perfectly. And all in all, she started to realize that what I was saying wasn't just because I didn't like these birds or I was siding with my parents, but rather to make her focus on herself and see what having these birds could do to her. Okay guys, I think that wraps up the video. Feel free to email me any more questions you might have and I will answer them as quickly as possible. I hope you got to know a little bit more about me and I'm excited to hear from you soon. Talk to you later.